Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. With our main topic today, we're discussing today how the Ministry of Higher Education have faced the pandemic of the coronavirus with the hybrid system and the online or the e-learning system. And to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to host this morning in the breakfast show Dr. Nabil Gad, the educational expert. Good morning, Dr. Gad.
Good morning, ma'am.
Dr. Gad, yes, please.
Yes, first of all, let me congratulate all the students and pupils for resuming the educational activities,
Yes.
having the mid-year exams that were postponed. Wishing them all the best of luck and very fruitful results.
Yes, this is the second semester, of course.
Sure.
So we'd like to shed light, what is the hybrid education?
Well, the word hybrid itself, in the animal field, when a horse gets married to a donkey, they have the production as a mule, which is a very strong animal, maybe stronger than the horse or the donkey itself. But as regards the educational hybrid, it means that we have to be eclectic. And this is a term in educational systems, that we have to pick up a flower from each orchard, whichever is suitable for the learners, who are the receivers, and the teachers as well. Nowadays, the process of learning is not only teaching, it's teaching learning process. And if there are very good interests and ambitions from both sides, I mean the learners and the teachers, the results will be very, very promising.
Yes.
God's will.
Yes.
And it's a good trend. And we have to have some training before we apply such a method. There should be very good training plan to have the desired results.
Yes, yes. So, Dr. Gad, this means that the hybrid education is the combination or merging between several educational systems.
That's right. And its ultimate aim is actually to use the up-to-date applied technology.
The latest technology.
The latest technology, up-to-date or the modern, the latest technology that's everywhere in the world.
Yes.
No problem if we benefit from others and maybe others benefit from us.
Yes. So how do you evaluate how the Ministry of Higher Education have faced the pandemic of the coronavirus and applied this successful system?
Well, I think the long mid-year holiday, which has never happened before, has given the chance to take back our breath and replan what's useful for our students. I think the up-to-date applied technology, which we are about to apply in our country, aims at one thing. It's preparing the new or the present generation, whether in scholastic stage or the academic stage for education or higher education, to have the learners introduced to the modern and lasting learning for life.
Yes.
And this is the most important thing. It's not only studying and sitting for an exam, having all the information we have stored and then we forgot about them. No. Learning means to have an everlasting benefit.
Yes.
That can help us in all fields of our life.
Yes. So, Dr. Gad, of course, the pandemic of the coronavirus is not going to last forever. It would come to an end one day. Mm-hmm. So, do you think that the system of the hybrid or the online learning is going to continue in Egypt after the pandemic is over?
For the time being, I think as long as the pandemic is still surviving, we have to be very careful.
Yes.
And we have so many precautionary measures to avoid lots of injuries or deaths. The death toll, we don't like to be higher than that.
Yes.
And one of the important things of the hybrid education is that it gives the learner the chance to think. This brain given to us by the
Yes.
Lord Almighty is not to lock it,
Yes.
but to unlock it and use it.
So you think that it is going to continue even after the pandemic ends?
It has its
Because
own,
it's a successful system.
It is, yes. It
Yes,
has
and
its
Egypt
own
was
thing.
able to implement it.
Implement it
Yes.
and cope with the present universal problem.
Yes.
I mean medical problem.
Yes.
And I think the students now, or the learners I would like to call them, try to use their minds thinking very
Yes.
well. I do remember that a friend of mine who was a teacher of science, in a final exam, they have the experimental tests,
Yeah.
and they have to, the student has to prove the Archimedes law of
Yes.
floating. So the lab assistant preparing all the items for this experiment forgot to bring a string in which they tie the cube, put it into water, and when the water flows up, they measure it. So when the lab assistant forgot this, the student was clever enough, this is what I mean, using the brain. And he took off his shoelace and tied the cube and put it and got the result. When the teacher came and saw this behavior of this clever student, he gave him a very good mark.
Yes, that's good.
So it leads us to thinking.
Yes.
And we never stop thinking.
Yes. How do you evaluate also the role of played by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi? He is very keen and he's always directing and following up with the educational system, how this hybrid system is taking place or going on in Egypt, and also the online learning. And actually President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have allocated years ago a special year for education.
Mm-hmm. Well, nobody can deny at all that he is always backing up these modern technological methods. He is not against them. And I think even the budget has increased. If you compare it to what happened in the past, it's far much better.
Yes.
The only concern I have personally is that some of the learners could be having the problems of the internet to be off. And when I was online with my students, some of them complained to me through the phone or through the other colleagues of them that the net is off. So we need more concentration from the Ministry of...
Yes, but this is something that is under control.
Under control, and it will be ruled.
Better.
And no problem. The less problems will happen.
Yes.
God's will.
Yes. Dr. Gad, do you think that the Egyptian student is now aware of this new system? And also, the second part of the question, do we need to make some training for the teachers?
Sure. That's what I have earlier mentioned. The training of the teachers is a must.
Let's shed light more on this.
And I think our learners now have got used to the new system of the e-learning.
Yes.
And they cooperate a lot. And of course, to be frank enough, it's not so direct interaction with the teacher when they are face to face with the professor or the teacher at the school or the university. However, we are going upward, and great steps are rating for us, because we are not less than other people who achieved the results desired.
Yes. Simply or briefly, what is the positives and the negatives of the e-learning?
The positives of the e-learning is that maybe when some learners are shy, they do not want to interfere or interact with the others. When they are at home and they feel independent enough, they are brave enough to share.
Yes. They could be more creative.
And they are more creative as well. But unluckily, the negative points, as what I have just mentioned, when the internet is off.
Yes.
That may be a frustration for them.
Yes.
However, as it usually happens with electricity and water flow, sometimes it's off,
Yes.
but we have to be patient enough, and the students are patient enough to continue and achieve their goals.
Yes.
Successful.
What are the ages that could deal with the e-learning? Is it only the secondary school, the university students? What about the KGs and the primary stage?
Believe me,
These are very young
Sure.
children who should see their teacher and go to the class and know how to make a teamwork. You know, did you get me?
yeah, I know. Believe me, as we used to say in the past, that this is the generation of TV. Now the new generation, 6 years or even less and above, are the generation of the internet.
Yes.
And believe it or not, sometimes I have a problem with the laptop to participate in a program like Zoom or something for meetings we have. And my young granddaughter comes and say, "Granddad, this is to be done like this. Show me your mobile." And she puts the mobile to be connecting with the link, and it works. I really
Yes.
admire her at this young age. So there is a very promising future waiting for this new generation, even in the primary stage.
Yes, yes. Dr. Gad, with the pandemic of the coronavirus, the state or the government is dealing with all the classes and the jobs and the problems of every person, dealing with people with chronic disease, for example. What are the government going to do, or the Ministry of Health, with the people with chronic disease during the pandemic? You know, several,
Sure.
yes. So
Yeah.
concerning the education, how is the online learning or the e-learning is going to deal with children or pupils with disabilities, students with dyslexia, students suffering from autism, for example? Okay.
Well, for each rule there is an exception.
Yes.
However, this young age of learners will, step by step, they will acquire the skills using the e-learning or the Zoom meeting we have sometimes. Actually was somewhat astonishing and amazing for us at the beginning. But now it was like, I usually liken it to the bottleneck. So we are passing now through the bottleneck, and we will have everything as familiar as ever.
Yes.
As any cell phone, for instance, you have with you.
Yes.
Sometimes at the beginning, the first few days, or you want to get used to the system to make it work.
Yes.
And we ask and check with our younger generation,
Yes.
and with the catalogs and albums. So it needs patience, it needs persistence on learning.
Yes.
And this will, when there is a will, there is a way.
Yes.
If we have the will to make full use of the e-learning, we
Yes.
will get the maximum benefits ever.
Yes. Do you think that in the cases that I've just mentioned, students could benefit more because such cases maybe need one-to-one learning,
Well,
doesn't they?
It also needs self-motivation.
Yes.
If somebody is self-motivated and he has the 100% desire to learn, he
Yes.
will go. And the 1,000 miles, as the Chinese proverb says,
Yes.
starts with one step. So we have already tread this first step, and we
Yes.
will continue when we have encouragement from those who are in charge, and we have the will to be working and producing more and more for our own benefit.
Yes. So let's have or revise or make a summary of the hybrid education. It's a combination or merging between several systems. Among
That's
them
right.
is the online system. And also, for example, students could go 1 week and have a vacation for another 1 week, or dividing, I mean, the students into small teaching groups or something. Also, the government or the Ministry of High Education is taking precautionary measures, sterilizing laboratories and class rooms also. Also emphasizing or for wearing protective masks, training of the faculty, teachers. What else?
That's right. These are necessary measures to be followed, and I think we have got used to them. If we compare few months ago, it was not as strict as we have now.
Yes.
Not because of the penalty, 50 Egyptian pounds to be paid for not wearing a mask or something like that, but because people now have the convinced ideas
Yes.
that they believe in, that they have to be cautious enough for not being infected with the disease.
Yes.
Students are also learning a lot. One of the most advantages of coronavirus is that we have become cautious to be so clean. Remember, everybody now in his pocket or her pocket, there is a sanitizer, there are tissues. They are always so keen to be clean enough, and it is usually said cleanliness is next to godliness. It's it's out of faith.
Yes.
So this is an advantage of the e-learning, and the 1 week on, 1 week off is a sort of relaxation. It gives enough time to prepare ourselves
For the
and
second
to review
week.
for the second coming week, upcoming
Yes.
week for the internet or the face-to-face.
Yes. So how can we evaluate the whole system? How can we say that it is successful? We've tried it only 1 year now, or from the second semester of the last year, now 3 semesters.
Yes.
Yes. So how much time do we need in order to evaluate the whole system? How many years? Can we say that this is a successful, or we can feel the benefit of the system?
We can judge it when we have final results. And one of the important evaluations we have is that the Thanawiya Amma exams passed
The third secondary,
very
yes.
successfully and peacefully without the least demerit we can ever have. Of course, this needed a lot of money to be spent for the precautionary measures. However, our government, I'm not complimenting them, but I'm stating the facts, has never been a miser in spending to care for our learners, our staff, members of staff, and all the people in general.
Yes.
So judgment would take a couple of years. We have already come to the second year, and there will be better and better results, especially when luckily the antivirus vaccine has come to be used nowadays.
Yes.
So that will reduce the number of cases and the death toll.
Yes. This system, when it's applied nowadays on the university students, how would this help them to benefit in the future when they are working in the market afterwards?
Sure, they will have good.
They would be ready for the online working.
That's right.
To be working online.
Right. They have already learned how to be studying online.
Yes.
So they will be working
It would be
online,
easy for them.
where they are relaxing at
Yes,
home.
yes, yes. I thank you very much for your time and for your valuable information. Dr. Nabil Gad, educational expert, thank you very much for coming today.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I leave you now with my colleague Shireen Adil.